Hello, and welcome to the Beyond Average Journeys of Growth and Increasing Value interview series. And I'm Kristin Carlson, and I'm your host. And today I'm joined by Larissa Lippe, CEO of Smart Kids Tutor LLC and a student at Emory University from Sarasota, Florida. So, Larissa, thank you for joining us today.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, if you could start, you're still a student in college. How did you start this tutoring business?
Absolutely. So I started Smart Kids Tutor when I was a junior in high school. I graduated from Riverview High School in Sarasota, and COVID started at the end of my sophomore year. So, sophomore year of high school, everything's going great. All of a sudden, spring break comes around, pandemic, we don't go back to school. So, over that time, essentially March through the entire summer of my sophomore year, uh, we weren't really learning anything. We weren't really in school in the traditional sense. It was great as a student. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have to worry about anything. No homework, no classes, no nothing. And then we went back to school my junior year. And at Riverview, they have the IB program. I was part of that. And it was tough. I was dealing with like some personal health issues at the time. So I was going back and forth between in person classes and online classes. And the class that was hardest was my BC Calculus class, which, if you guys don't know, BC Calc is College Calculus 2. And I was taking that as a junior in high school. Very, very difficult. So I was just really struggling a lot with all of that, trying to find something that would work for me. And as I was going through and I was struggling, I worked on homework for at least 3 to 4 hours every single night. Instead of getting bogged down by that, and that really skewing my mindset and putting me into a very bad place academically, mentally, I took a step back and kind of reflected, okay, what is going on in my life and in the world right now that is making me struggle this intensely? And I realized that it was the way that everything was being taught through COVID. And it's not the fault of the teachers, definitely not. They were thrown into this like crazy intense world and still expected to do everything. But I realized that I wasn't the only student struggling, and there was a massive problem in the way the education system was dealing with COVID. So I decided to essentially create a vehicle to connect students that are advanced, have teaching skills, and have the ability to help with students that are either struggling or just want additional enrichment to get ahead. So that's kind of how my company was born. Like I said, I started it my junior year of high school after I finished dealing with all the calculus stuff. And it started as just me and one student that eventually grew to two, three students. And then all of a sudden, I had more students than I could take care of alone. So I brought on my friends to help. Again, all advanced students, sorry, all advanced students that are incredibly intelligent, have been comprehensively trained, tons of teaching abilities. They're just in general amazing. So I brought on some of those people, and then the biggest our tutoring team has ever been was about 30 tutors, and I think one or two admin. And the best thing that I love most about Smart Kids Tutor, it's all done for students by students. So there's nobody at our company that is not a student. I'd say the oldest individuals that we have are about to be juniors in college. Everybody else is junior in college all the way down to, I want to say, rising sophomore or junior in high school.
Oh, excellent. So, have you been able to retain the people that started with you? Are people like finding that this is a great opportunity for them to have a job and have some flexibility?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that we do everything for the tutors at Smart Kids Tutor, first of all, I the like I said, the reason I started the company was to help students, but it was kind of a dual reason. It was to help students, and also I was surrounded at school constantly by friends and peers, all of these incredibly intelligent and talented people that were working at places like Publix or Starbucks and getting paid minimum wage or around there. It was a massive, massive time suck, and a lot of them were worried about keeping up with work, keeping up with school, everything, when I knew that they could be using their talents in a different way. So I created something that offers flexible scheduling And I try and pay the tutors really well because I know that their time is valuable. And I also know that here they'll get paid more than teenagers would pretty much anywhere else. So generally, yes, there has been quite a good retention rate. Um, like I said, it's very flexible for all of them, and they have a lot of cool opportunities here. We do tend to lose some people, like each year as classes get harder. I mean, sometimes people's priorities change, and that is completely and totally understandable. So sometimes juniors going into senior year of high school, but more realistically, people going senior year of high school into college. Generally, we lose some people each year, but I'd say our retention rate is very, very good.
So how are you recruiting? Is it by referral, or do you have a connection with the
So,
schools and some of the kids coming through the
yeah,
program?
actually, I can give you a little bit more context and explanation about our recruiting process. So, I graduated high school in 2022, took a gap year where I did nothing but work on Smart Kids Tutor for like 40 to 55 hours a week. And then I went to college. So, during my gap year was a big period of growth because I had the opportunity to be working on it constantly. So, what we would do for recruiting for new staff members, my favorite way is through referral. I encourage my current tutors to, because they know what the job needs, I encourage my current tutors to go and recruit their friends, peers, just people that they think would be able to fit. And then, of course, there's a comprehensive interview and training process. It's like a four-step thing. And then they're able to move on and work with students. Other ways that we tend to recruit is we do have contacts at a couple various high schools, not just with students, but with teachers, guidance counselors, and honor societies. So every once in a while, like at Riverview, I would ask um, a teacher or sponsor of an honor society, hey, can you put this out to your students? Just let them know that there's this cool opportunity and we're looking for new staff members. At the moment, right now, we are not bringing on new staff members just because it's summer. Everything's kind of different over the summer. And then everything will be reassessed once the school year starts. But yeah, that's pretty much our recruiting process for that.
Excellent. And what is your target market? Are you focused in the Sarasota area, or are you expanding or plan to expand?
So we've always been focused in the Sarasota area as far as in-person tutoring goes. So um, in Sarasota, we do in-person tutoring at public libraries. So we usually do Gulfgate Library and Fruitville Library. So pretty much our target area is, I'd say, between University and Clark Road. But of course, we're able to offer to any student in Sarasota. And then as far as virtual tutoring goes, while we typically do advertise in the Sarasota area, virtual tutoring is for any students anywhere. So we've had students in Colorado, we've had students in Georgia. Granted, those people were mostly friends and family of people who found us in Sarasota. But yeah, we also have plans to work with Manatee County schools. So Smart Kids Tutor, we have both a for-profit and a nonprofit. The nonprofit is pretty new, but the goal of the nonprofit is to offer very highly discounted tutoring to students that need it and can't afford it. So we do that in partnership with school districts. We also do that just offering our services to them, and just seeing kind of how people find us and setting something up for that. So through Manatee County, that would most likely be through our nonprofit, to be able to offer like targeted assistance to students that need it.
Awesome. So what brought you to start the foundation? I mean, was there a trigger point that you decided to create a nonprofit, or was that always a part of your vision and plan?
So it wasn't always in existence. I've always wanted it to be in existence. So I decided to start the nonprofit for a couple reasons, same amount of reasons I do everything. So with the for-profit company, at a couple different times, I had just different community members reach out to me saying, hey, we do this program. We'd like to partner with you. But of course, the rates and everything associated with that was going to be different than if we were doing it through the for profit with our regular, like everything. So I wanted to be able to have a direct impact, have a wider impact, and really help the students that need it because tutoring is expensive. It really is. And while Smart Kids Tutor, the regular rates that we have are way lower because I want to make everything as accessible as possible to everybody, of course, that's not going to be possible for every single family. And unfortunately, the students that need tutoring the most tend to be the families that can't really afford it. So, to be able to have a bigger impact on the students that really need it, that's why I created the foundation. So with it's called the Smart Kids Tutor Foundation. Through that, again, the goal is just to offer significantly discounted or even free, if we can get grants from the schools and the school districts, tutoring to students that can't afford it but really need it.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing. And I'm sure that's a huge impact to the community. So, are the donors mainly the schools through a grant program, or have you found any private donors to help you?
So, like I said, everything with the foundation is really a work in progress. Some things that we have in the works right now are is a program with Manatee County Schools, in which case the school district themselves would be the donor. We are also working with some private organizations, not necessarily specific donors, but just like other nonprofit education organizations in Sarasota to set up programs with them, in which case we kind of work together to offset the costs. And another thing that we have in the works is we have a large number of tutors at University of Florida because there seems to be a pipeline of advanced students in Sarasota County going to University of Florida for college. So something that we are hoping to start this upcoming year is a club at University of Florida with the intention of fundraising. So it would just be all of our tutors there and then them recruiting friends to be involved and essentially just a fundraising organization with the intention of raising funds and then using that, whether it's in Sarasota or Gainesville or somewhere else, to just give pretty much free tutoring to the kids that really need it. So any funds raised there will be solely used for giving tutoring to underprivileged students.
Excellent, excellent. So, what is your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal for your company?
Wait, can you say that again? I'm sorry.
The big, hairy, audacious goal. What is your vision? What is your
Oh, the big
long-term
goal.
vision?
That's a really good question. So before I went to college, I had a very distinct goal, or at least a big goal. I wanted Smart Kids Tutor just to be able to reach as many students as possible because, in my opinion, it's pretty cool and it does tend to work. So as far as I know that you asked about the tutor retention rate, with our student retention rate, that's pretty good too. We tend to have students returning year after year to go back and work with their same tutors. So it does work and it's very highly impactful for everybody involved, lots of youth empowerment. So I just love everything that Smart Kids Tutor has the ability to do. And I just want it to be able to reach as many students as possible. So whether that's all the counties in Florida or all the states in the Southeast, that would be amazing. That was kind of my goal before I went to college. After going to college, things seem to change a little bit because I'm exposed to all these new things in the world. And I go to Emory University, so we have a really good business program, and that's one of my majors. So there, my vision has kind of adjusted a little bit. And also, the way that education is moving in the world is also changing. AI is about to come in and completely change all of education. So at this point, I have a much broader vision. Again, I still want Smart Kids Tutor to exist and be impactful and do all kinds of good for all kinds of students. But it's looking more along the lines of my short term goal will be developing a better platform. So, a platform that's more accessible for students, parents, tutors, and then just kind of using that almost as like a tutor selection marketplace and moving on that way because with that expansion will be much easier. It will be much easier to connect students with tutors faster, and that'll really be where when speed comes in and ease comes in, that's where you can really access all kinds of students. And then another goal, now that I have the nonprofit, I really want to start pushing that. So with the nonprofit, accessing as many underprivileged students as possible and giving them the resources they need to succeed.
Awesome. Those are huge, huge goals. And once you get that platform in place, I'm sure your business will explode, right? And you'll be able
Mhm.
to sustain and really thrive. So, any last words you'd like to share with an upcoming entrepreneur on starting their own business?
Yes, absolutely. So, something that I learned with starting a business, I mean, first of all, it's not easy. Everybody will tell you that. And second of all, you can't be afraid of the possibility of failure. And if you are afraid of the possibility of failure, that's okay. Use that fear as a tool because a lot of people are afraid of investing time or money in something and not knowing if it's going to work. That's the only way that innovation happens. That's the only way that cool things happen in the world, and the only way that you would ever succeed is by taking a risk and going for it. If your gut is telling you this is not a good idea, then listen to your gut, do your research. But overall, if you have an idea, you have the drive, and whether you have the tools to succeed or not, create the tools, make it happen. If you have the drive to do it, don't let fear of failure stop you because failure is a very important part of the growth cycle. I have done things with Smart Kids Tutor that I put so much time and so much energy into that just haven't worked. And that is such a great learning opportunity and learning experience. It's incredible. So don't be afraid of failure. It's kind of bound to happen. Use it as a tool and use it as a springboard to fail upwards and bring it all into something new.
Awesome. What powerful advice. And I totally agree with you. So, well, congratulations with your businesses and definitely want to keep in touch as you grow and expand because I think your services are needed definitely across the country and across the world. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Larissa.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
And for everyone listening, I hope you'll stay in tune for the next episode.